What if everything you've ever known about the dinosaurs is only half the story? What if their extinction wasn't just an accident, but a chain reaction? A perfect storm that turned Earth into a living nightmare. Welcome to the UNKNOWNFILES X, where real stories, dark mysteries, and hidden truths are told. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world untouched by humans. No cities, no noise, no lights in the night. Only life in its rawest, most powerful form. This was Earth over 66 million years ago. The air was warmer, richer, easier to breathe. Forests stretched endlessly thick and alive, swallowing the horizon. Oceans moved like silent giants hiding creatures no human eye would ever see. And across the land, giants ruled. Massive herds of plant-eating dinosaurs moved slowly, peacefully, as if time itself didn't matter. They had no idea what fear of tomorrow meant, no concept of endings. Above them, winged creatures soared through the skies, riding invisible currents. And on the ground, something else watched, something patient, something built for one purpose: survival. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, not a legend, not a myth, a real predator, with crushing jaws and instincts sharper than any weapon ever created. Every creature had its place, every life connected, a perfect balance, or at least, that's how it looked. Because while Earth was calm, something was already coming. Far beyond the sky, beyond the moon, in the silent darkness of space. A piece of rock, ancient, forgotten, was drifting. It had no mission, no target, no awareness. For millions of years, it wandered, unnoticed, until something changed. A slight pull, a shift in gravity. Earth had called it, and now it was coming. Back on Earth, life continued as if nothing could ever go wrong. Volcanoes rumbled in the distance, spilling rivers of fire across the land. The ground trembled, but the creatures had lived with that for ages. To them, it was normal. Armored dinosaurs moved like tanks, slow, heavy, unstoppable. Others crossed rivers in groups, their calls echoing across valleys. Small predators hid in shadows, waiting, watching, calculating their next move. The forests were alive. Insects buzzed between early flowers. Primitive birds tested their wings, unsure but determined. And beneath it all, hidden from the giants above, tiny mammals moved quietly, small, fragile, almost invisible. But inside them was the future. A future no one could see, because above them, the sky was about to change. At first, it was nothing, a faint streak, easy to miss. But then, it grew brighter, faster, hotter. The object had entered Earth's atmosphere at a speed beyond imagination, over 70,000 kilometers per hour. The air around it burned, the sky itself began to glow. From the ground, it looked like a second sun tearing across the heavens. Animals paused. Something felt wrong. The air shifted. The sounds of life slowly faded. And then light. Blinding, impossible light. Brighter than anything the planet had ever seen. And in the next instant, impact. The asteroid struck near what we now call the Yucatan Peninsula. But this wasn't just a collision. It was annihilation. The force released was beyond comprehension, stronger than millions of nuclear explosions happening at once. The ocean exploded upward, instantly turning to vapor. The ground beneath melted. Everything within thousands of kilometers was erased. A shockwave tore across the planet faster than sound. Forests didn't burn. They vanished. The air itself ignited. A wall of heat spread across continents, cooking everything in its path. And then came the water. Massive waves, much taller than mountains, surged across oceans. Tsunamis swallowed coastlines, destroying everything they touched. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But the worst was still coming. Fragments from the impact were thrown high into the atmosphere. And then they fell back. Thousands, millions of burning pieces of rock raining down across the entire planet. The sky became fire, not for minutes, not for hours, but for days. Imagine standing under a sky that never stops burning. A world where the ground itself glows with heat, where every breath feels like fire in your lungs. That was Earth. At this point, if you're still watching, you already feel how terrifying this really was. So take a second. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who loves mysteries just like you. Because what comes next is something most people never hear about. After the fire came the darkness. Ash dust and toxic gases filled the atmosphere. The sun disappeared. Not for a day, not for a week, for years. The planet went silent. Temperatures dropped, cold replaced heat. Plants died first. Without sunlight, they had no chance. Then the herbivores followed, then the predators. The giants that once ruled the earth now wandered, starving, weak, confused. The world they knew was gone. And slowly, quietly, they disappeared. But here's the twist. Not everything died. Deep underground, inside burrows. Underwater, in hidden cracks of the earth. Life held on. Small creatures, insects, amphibians, and those tiny mammals that once lived in fear now became survivors. They didn't need much. They adapted, they waited, and that changed everything. Because extinction wasn't instant. It took thousands of years. A slow, silent collapse. Food chains broke apart. Oceans lost their balance. Entire ecosystems faded into nothing. But time never stops. Eventually, the dust settled, the skies cleared, and sunlight returned. At first weak, then stronger. The earth began to breathe again. Tiny plants pushed through the soil, moss, ferns, life restarting from almost nothing. And this new world was very different. The giants were gone. No more thunder of massive footsteps. No more rulers of land. Instead, small, fast, intelligent creatures began to take over. Mammals, the same ones that once hid in shadows. Now they had the world. They evolved, they adapted, they grew, and millions of years later they became something else, something capable of thinking, remembering, questioning. Us, you, me. And here's the truth most people don't think about. That disaster, the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, made our existence possible. Without it, we might not be here. But it also leaves us with a question. If one random object drifting through space can change everything, what's stopping it from happening again? The Earth has faced destruction before. It will face it again. Because the universe doesn't promise safety, it only rewards survival. And survival belongs to those who adapt, not the strongest, not the biggest, but the ones who can endure and start again. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember this. Somewhere out there, something is always moving, and history has a way of repeating itself. If this story made you think, made you feel, or gave you chills, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Because here on the Unknown Files X, we don't just tell stories, we uncover the truth hidden inside them.